The annual talent competition for noble ladies in the capital was held to select a consort for the Prince of Yang. In my past life, I won the competition, and he married me as his principal consort. The woman he truly loved, Shen Zhaozhao, fell ill from heartbreak and passed away in sorrow. After he ascended the throne, he did not make me empress. Instead, he placed Shen Zhaozhao's memorial tablet on the empress's throne and forced me to kneel before it for 3 days and 3 nights. If you hadn't broken Zhaozhao's zither strings, she would have won the competition. It's because of you that we couldn't be together, he said. The throne should have been hers. He accused my father, the Prince of Shipping, of crimes, and executed him to appease his imperial wrath. My mother, overwhelmed with grief, crashed into the coffin and died, leading to the downfall of the entire Zhao family. In this lifetime, during the Noble Ladies Talent competition, I injured my wrist and withdrew from the contest. He wanted to spend his life devoted solely to Shen Zhaozhao. I granted them their wish. The first place in the talent competition goes to Shen Zhaozhao, daughter of the Minister of Rights. The chief examiner loudly announced the name of the first place winner. Everyone whispered among themselves, "It's actually her who won first place." I heard Zhao Shuyi sprained her wrist and couldn't participate in the competition. Shen Zhaozhao is really lucky. Wasn't Zhao Shuyi the Empress Dowager's favored choice for the princess consort of Yang? But it was agreed that the winner would become the princess consort of Yang. These were the rules set by the Prince of Yang himself. Prince of Yang, Bai Zhiqing, beamed with joy and delight as he tightly held Shen Zhaozhao's hand and stepped forward. "Father Emperor, Mother Empress, this is the consort your son has chosen." The Prince of Yang gazed at her with tender affection, while Shen Zhaozhao blushed shyly, her face flushed crimson as if about to bleed, yet she never loosened her grip on the prince's hand even slightly. Everyone looked at me sympathetically, their eyes lingering on the bandage still wrapped around my wrist, clearly anticipating some drama. Even the Empress seemed hesitant when she glanced at me. After all, it was she who had hinted at selecting me as the Crown Prince's consort and had even discreetly sounded out my father, the Prince of Shipping, to ensure I wasn't already promised to someone else. But now, something unexpected had happened. The Empress hesitated for a moment before asking Bai Zhisheng, "Is there another woman you fancy? Your father is in high spirits today. If you speak up, perhaps he will grant your wish." She then glanced at me meaningfully, hinting that if he mentioned my name, the Emperor might allow him to take 2 consorts at once. But the Empress was wrong, because I had no intention of marrying His Highness the Prince of Yang again. In my past life, the Prince of Yang accused me of breaking Shen Zhaozhao's zither strings, preventing her from winning the competition, but that was something I would never stoop to do. Had he calmly considered my usual character, he would have known such actions were beneath me. Yet when he saw Shen Zhaozhao weeping softly, his heart ached unbearably. Shen Zhaozhao pulled her hand away from his and said, "I know Shuyi dislikes me, but all I want is a fair chance to compete for your affection. Why won't she even grant me that? Is it just because her father is the Prince of Pingxi?" Her words planted the seeds of disaster that would later lead to the Prince of Yang executing my father after ascending the throne. Only later did I realize that during my previous life's competition, when I played that long-lost ancient melody, even the Guqin instructor from the Imperial Academy nodded in satisfaction. My performance made flowers bloom throughout the Imperial Garden. Seeing her defeat inevitable, Shen Zhaozhao deliberately snapped her strings to feign failure. In this life, I won't give her another chance. I'd rather pretend to injure my wrist accidentally during the previous day's spring banquet, making me unable to compete today, than leave room for gossip again. If they wish to be together, I'll let them have their way this time. I'll stay as far away from them as possible. Hearing the Empress's question, Prince Yang declared loudly, "Mother Empress, Zhaozhao is the only woman I love. Now that she has won first place, I beg you to appoint her as my principal consort. In this life, I only wish to spend my days with Zhaozhao, one man and one woman, together forever." The Empress sighed helplessly. "I have no objection to you making her your principal consort, but you are the legitimate son of your father and me. You cannot have only one consort, you must expand the royal lineage. Do you understand?" She looked at Shen Zhaozhao, whose eyes were fixed only on the Prince of Yang. Perhaps love gives one boundless courage, as she stepped forward and said with a trembling voice, "Your Majesty, after marrying the Prince of Yang, I will strive to bear children for the royal family. But the prince has said he will not take another woman. Every woman wishes to share a lifetime with the one she loves, just one man and one woman. Surely your Majesty understands this, does she not? I beg your Majesty to grant us this wish and refrain from bestowing noble ladies upon the prince as concubines." As soon as her words fell, the expressions of the noble guests varied greatly. Especially the ladies from prestigious families whose daughters had hopes of becoming the Prince of Yang's concubines, their faces turned particularly dark. Miss Shen is truly formidable. Even before becoming the principal consort, she's already preventing the Prince of Yang from taking concubines. Which imperial prince doesn't have multiple wives and concubines? Moreover, the Prince of Yang is the legitimate son of the Emperor and Empress. What is she trying to do? Ensure the Prince of Yang has few descendants. From now on, anyone who marries into the Prince of Yang's household will likely have a hard time. It seems Miss Shen is about to receive the exclusive favor of Prince Yang. Upon hearing Shen Zhaozhao's words, Prince Yang, though aware it was inappropriate, still defended her. "I beg Mother Empress to grant her wish." The Empress closed her eyes briefly, then waved her hand wearily. "All of you may withdraw now. An imperial decree will be issued in 3 days to confer the title of consort." Everyone filed out in succession. Before I could reach the palace gate, someone called out to me, "Shuyi, my dear." It was Shen Zhaozhao. The maid behind her held the jewelry bestowed by Prince Yang. She stepped forward with a smile, saying, "I'm sorry, Shuyi, my dear sister. I truly didn't expect you wouldn't compete today. I thought you would win." I smiled faintly. "Congratulations, sister, on fulfilling your wish." Her eyes reddened. "Do you resent me? I know the Empress favored you more. But I truly love Prince Yang. He promised to marry me. For his sake, I had to disregard our sisterly bond. Please don't blame me. This pomegranate pearl hairpin was a gift from Prince Yang. I'm giving it to you as a token of our sisterhood. May you soon find a noble husband and bear illustrious children." I took the jewelry, but before I could speak, the hairpin in my hand was snatched by a man's hand. "This was my gift to you. Why are you giving it to someone else? It carries my blessing for us to have noble offspring soon after our marriage. How could you be so careless?" Shen Zhaozhao looked at Prince Yang with a bashful expression. "Your Highness, my sister is upset about failing the selection. I just wanted to cheer her up. Don't be so stingy." Prince Yang looked at me mockingly. "Upset, Zhao Shuyi? It was the Empress Dowager who favored you, not me. I hope you understand. She likely values your father's support, but if I ascend the throne someday, I will be the son of heaven, and all will be my subjects, all will support me. Isn't that right? I won't rely on a woman's influence to secure my reign. Besides, I never said I would marry you. In the past, I enjoyed our conversations immensely, finding you generous and delightfully witty. But I never imagined you harbored such grand ambitions to become the Princess of Yang." Watching them play off each other, I grew weary of the charade. Taking a step back, I said, "Your Highness, my participation in the palace talent competition was merely following imperial decree. All unmarried daughters of third-rank officials and above in the capital were required to attend. As for talk of relying on marital connections to secure power or marrying me, such nonsense should cease. Lest the Princess of Yang take offense. If she were to take offense, thinking your Highness implied her family lacks influence, how would the Princess of Yang handle such a situation?" With that, I turned and walked away. Shen Zhaozhao was inherently suspicious and petty. Her father was merely a minister of rights, the least influential among the 6 ministries. Compared to my father, the Prince of Pingxi, her family's standing was truly insignificant. 3 days later, as soon as the imperial decree appointing Shen Zhaozhao as the Princess of Yang was issued, she immediately hosted a flower-viewing banquet, inviting noble ladies from the capital, given Prince Yang's influence. Who would dare refuse? At the banquet, Shen Zhaozhao was adorned in dazzling jewels, wearing accessories bestowed by Prince Yang and the Empress. Though not yet officially the princess, she carried herself with all the airs of one. I recalled how in her past life, She had won Prince Yang's favor with her simple and elegant style, claiming to dislike extravagant jewelry. Her fresh and refined demeanor was said to be what captivated him. I wonder if Prince Yang in this life, upon seeing her like this, would still praise her as untouched by worldly vulgarity. Shen Zhaozhao tightly held my hand in front of everyone. Sister, when I get married, could you be my bridesmaid, accompany me into the palace on my wedding day, with a few good sisters by my side? I won't be as scared. Her face wore a pleading expression, but her eyes gleamed with smug laughter. In her mind, she was already the winner in life, and this was her way of publicly humiliating me. You are the princess consort of Yang. Whoever you choose as your companion, who could refuse? Surely no one in the capital would deny my princess consort this favor. Zhao Shuyi, don't you agree? The speaker was none other than the Prince of Yang, who had just entered. Shen Zhaozhao's ladies' flower viewing banquet was graced by his presence. Truly, he doted on her immensely. Everyone was watching me, waiting to see how I would respond. If I agreed, it would mean submitting to the identity of the princess consort of Yang. If I refused, it would mean slighting the Prince of Yang. The Prince of Yang was brimming with confidence, and Shen Zhaozhao was smugly triumphant. But they forgot my father is the Prince of Pingxi, commanding formidable troops. Apart from the Emperor and Empress, I owe deference to no one. I pulled my hand free from Shen Zhaozhao's grasp. Apologies, but I may not be able to witness the princess consort of Yang's wedding. My father has sent someone to fetch me home, and the departure date happens to coincide with the day of your marriage to the Prince of Yang. Shen Zhaozhao looked at me, her eyes brimming with tears. Are you angry with me, sister? Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that the Prince of Pingxi sent for you just now? The maid by my side answered for me. The people sent by His Highness to fetch the young lady arrived last night. They said a marriage has already been arranged for her. Since the young lady has been in the capital for over half a year, it's time for her to return home to embroider her wedding dress and prepare for the marriage. As soon as these words were spoken, the Prince of Yang's expression changed drastically. You're returning to the northwest. Didn't your father send you to the capital to find a noble husband and marry here? I know you're upset that I chose Zhaozhao as my consort. What if I promise you that after the wedding, I'll take you as my secondary consort? Shen Zhaozhao's face darkened. Before she could speak, I smiled and said, Your Highness must be joking. Didn't you just tell Her Majesty the Empress in the Grand Hall the other day that you and Sister Shen would be devoted to each other for life? Moreover, how could the legitimate daughter of the Zhao family ever become a concubine? The Prince of Yang gritted his teeth. Zhao Shuyi, must you insist on being the principal consort? Are you really so concerned with such empty titles? I looked at him bewildered. Your Highness, I never said I wanted to be your principal consort. I've simply been in the capital for too long, and my parents miss me. Since I have no relatives here, isn't it only natural for me to return home? Or does your Highness forbid people from going home? The Prince of Yang's expression darkened further. What if I refuse? What if I insist on marrying you? Your Highness may be disappointed, but Miss Zhao and I are already betrothed. Does your Highness intend to snatch your subject's wife? I turned my head and saw that the newcomer was Cavalry General Song Lingfeng. He was dressed in martial attire, his face still bearing traces of dust, likely from riding thousands of miles to reach the capital. He strode in and stood by my side, shielding me invisibly. Prince Yang glared at him fiercely. Cavalry General, weren't you stationed at the frontier? How dare you enter the capital without an imperial decree? Song Lingfeng smiled. I am under orders from Prince Pingxi to deliver battle reports to His Majesty and escort Sister Shuyi back to the northwest. The Emperor can also understand my youthful impulsiveness in snatching this battlefield report delivery mission to escort my fiancé. Coupled with this decisive victory, His Majesty wouldn't likely hold it against me. Having said that, he looked at me with eyes that held no one else but me. Shuyi, this flower viewing banquet seems unbearably dull. There's a place outside the city where peach blossoms are blooming splendidly. Let me take you there. It's infinitely more beautiful than being confined in this little garden. I stood up with a smile and bid farewell to Prince Yang and Shen Zhaozhao. I'll take my leave now. I fear I may have already departed by the time of your grand wedding. So let me offer my early congratulations for a harmonious union lasting 100 years. With that, I walked toward Song Lingfeng and followed him out of the estate. Prince Yang chased after us. Zhao Shuyi. Could it be that becoming this prince's consort is inferior to being the wife of a minor general? If I ascend the throne then, I promise to grant you the position of noble consort. How does that sound? Song Lingfeng mounted his horse and extended his hand to me. Do you still remember how to ride? With a smile, I reached out my hand. Luckily, I haven't forgotten. I mounted the horse and rode alongside him, galloping out of the city, leaving the Prince of Yang's words and presence far behind. The Prince of Yang's wedding was a grand affair. On the morning of the ceremony, the carriage for my departure was already prepared and ready to set off. Unexpectedly, our carriage encountered the wedding procession on the streets of the capital. I had deliberately chosen a route their procession wouldn't take, but who would have thought the Prince of Yang would pick this very path? Dressed in his wedding attire, he blocked the carriage's path. Shuyi, are you truly leaving? I gently lifted the curtain. Your Highness, today is your wedding day. Do not miss the auspicious hour. He dismounted and approached the carriage. His eyes filled with inexplicable emotion. Shuyi, stay. I admit I spoke harshly that day, but you know I care for you too. I just didn't want you to use your family status to overshadow Zhao Zhao, making her feel inferior. If you can change that, I'll beg His Majesty to let me marry you as well, with all the honors of a princess consort. What do you say? After speaking, he stepped forward to grab my hand, only to be seized by Song Lingfeng. Your Highness Prince Yang. Your bride is waiting in the wedding sedan. If you delay any longer, you'll miss the auspicious hour. The attending eunuchs and ceremonial officials accompanying the wedding procession were already drenched in cold sweat, kneeling on the ground. Your Highness, please stop this nonsense. We mustn't miss the auspicious hour. His Majesty the Emperor and Her Majesty the Empress are waiting in the palace. Prince Yang gnashed his teeth in fury. Get out of my way, Song Lingfeng. You're merely a subject. How dare you defy your superior? Song Lingfeng stood his ground. Your Highness Prince Yang, instead of properly marrying your own bride, you're publicly snatching my betrothed in the streets. What kind of behavior is this? Even if this matter is brought before His Majesty, I will demand justice. Everyone stood frozen in place, watching the standoff between Prince Yang and Song Lingfeng. I spoke up. Your Highness Prince Yang, General Song and I are deeply in love. And our wedding date is already set. Since your Highness is getting married today, why persist in this entanglement? Prince Yang's eyes burned crimson. I told you, I regret it. I want to marry you. Zhao Shuyi, don't go with him. If you wish, I'll take you as my principal consort. Will that suffice? Shen Zhao Zhao, having heard about Prince Yang stopping my carriage to prevent my departure, disregarded formalities, wearing her wedding dress and lifting her veil. She stepped out of the sedan chair and approached just in time to hear Prince Yang's words. Her face turned as pale as paper. Your Highness, what did you say? You want to marry Zhao Shuyi as your principal consort? Then what about me? What am I? She rushed over and tightly grasped Prince Yang's arm. Didn't we promise to have only each other? That you wouldn't marry another woman? If you're making her your principal consort, then what about me? Are you planning to abandon your wife and remarry? Prince Yang impatiently shook off her hand. What nonsense about abandoning your wife and remarrying? We haven't even completed the wedding ceremony yet. You've always been understanding. Just yield to Shuyi this once. Once you enter the palace, I won't treat you unfairly. Tears streamed down Shen Zhaozhao's face like broken pearls. Your Highness, were all those promises you made just lies? Today is our wedding day. How could you choose this moment to speak of marrying another woman? Moreover, we've already consummated our marriage. Do you intend to abandon me and marry someone else? As Shen Zhaozhao's words rang out, the crowd gathered for the royal wedding erupted in uproar. What? The daughter of the Minister of Rights had intimate relations with Prince Yang before marriage? How shameless! How can someone so lacking in virtue still call herself a noble lady? What kind of distinguished woman has Prince Yang chosen? She's not even comparable to daughters from humble families, daring to publicly admit losing her chastity before marriage. How could she have the audacity to say such things? The daughters of the Shen family will now struggle to find husbands. As the clan leader, even if she were a princess consort. I'd strangle her with a rope. The royal family is marrying such a shameless woman, how laughable it would be if word got out. Meanwhile, the maidservant accompanying Prince Yang from the palace to welcome the bride turned pale. The crowd's words grew louder and harsher, reaching Prince Yang and Shen Zhaozhao's ears. Only then did Shen Zhaozhao realize she had misspoken. Her face turned deathly pale as she took 2 steps back. No, I didn't. I was just lying earlier because I didn't want your highness to marry Zhao Shuyi. Your highness, you know how I feel about you, don't you? I interrupted their conversation. Your highness, I have no intention of marrying you, neither as principal wife nor as concubine. Moreover, I already have a betrothed. Please do not delay my journey home. My father awaits me. Brother Lingfeng, let's go. Song Lingfeng mounted his horse and said, let's go, leading his father's elite black cavalry. He escorted my carriage through the wedding procession and rode off into the distance. I lowered the curtain and let out a long sigh of relief. This time, I had finally avoided marrying the Prince of Yang. Clenching my fists, I vowed silently that the tragedies of my past life would never repeat themselves. I would protect my family. I returned to the Pingxi prince's residence a month later. My mother came out from the inner courtyard to greet me. My daughter has suffered. My father was also furious. That brat Prince of Yang thinks he's some kind of prize. If it weren't for the Empress insisting Shuyi come to the capital, would I ever have sent my daughter to the palace to be considered as his consort? Song Lingfeng apologized beside her. Shuyi, my dear sister, His Highness had no other choice but to have me claim we were betrothed in order to bring you back. Please forgive any offense caused. If we hadn't said that, His Highness feared Her Majesty the Empress and His Majesty wouldn't let you leave, so it was all just a temporary measure. Father chimed in, I wouldn't call it merely temporary. I think your marriage would be quite suitable. What if Her Majesty still has designs on you? You might as well marry Lingfeng and spare yourself from those villains' schemes. Mother added persuasively, I also think this would be perfect. Haven't you two grown up together since childhood? It's not like you're strangers. I looked at my parents, who were still alive and well, and at Song Lingfeng by my side, who also held military power. My eyes grew warm as I spoke. My marriage shall be decided by my parents. I have no objections. My marriage with Song Lingfeng was set for 3 months later. My father was overjoyed, and given his long-standing prestige in the northwest, a steady stream of visitors came bearing congratulatory gifts. Even the emperor sent Prince Qing to deliver gifts. Prince Qing was the eldest son of the late empress and the emperor's firstborn, after the new empress gave birth to Prince Yang. He fell out of favor and kept a low profile, playing the role of a virtuous prince at court. In addition to the emperor's rewards, he also brought an edict conferring upon me the title of Jiahe County Princess, partly to console me for failing to become Prince Yang's consort, and partly to appease my father. Song Lingfeng and his father warmly entertained Prince Qing, who also brought news of Prince Yang. On the day of Prince Yang's wedding, a commotion broke out in the streets. Before the newlyweds could enter the palace, the emperor and empress had already learned everything. On their wedding night, Prince Yang and Shen Zhaozhao had a fierce quarrel. Shen Zhaozhao smashed countless items in the chamber, weeping and accusing Prince Yang of not loving her, saying his vows had vanished in an instant, that he had deceived her feelings and taken her innocence. Prince Yang, furious, retorted, What I seek in my princess consort is grace, dignity, and propriety. Look at yourself now. How are you any different from an ignorant woman from the streets? You disappoint me deeply. If I had known you were such a fool, I would never have abandoned Shuyi for you. Did I deceive you into losing your virtue? If you were truly a chaste woman, you wouldn't have yielded to me so easily that night. Shen Zhaozhao, do you really think of yourself as some paragon of virtue? You were just as eager to secure the position of imperial consort. You can't have both wealth and honor while clinging to your so-called virtue. Such good fortune doesn't exist. From the very beginning, the empress had been dissatisfied with Shen Zhaozhao, yet she remained oblivious. On the second day after the wedding, she tearfully complained to the empress, Mother Empress, His Highness did not share the bridal chamber with me last night. He left me alone in the bridal suite. He must still be thinking of Zhao Shuyi. Mother Empress, you must stand up for me. The empress looked at her coldly. You can't even keep your own husband's heart. This is what happens right after your wedding. What will become of you in the future? Moreover, Shunga is a prince, the legitimate heir. In the future, there will surely be other women besides you. Do you expect me to intervene every time? I thought the Shun family was a distinguished noble house, raising daughters who were cultured and reasonable. Never did I imagine they would produce someone so frivolous and useless, truly disappointing. She then reprimanded Prince Yang as well. Shen Zhaozhao was your own choice. The Zhao Shui I selected for you comes from a noble family and is a model of aristocratic grace. Yet you were unsatisfied and insisted on choosing this insignificant Shen Zhaozhao, utterly unfit for prominence. How can she assist you in the future? How can she be your support? What else can she do besides being jealous? When you take concubines in the future, I fear she'll make an even bigger scene. The person you chose is your responsibility. If your household is in chaos, how can you achieve great things? Don't disappoint your father. Prince Qing has been handling his duties exceptionally well lately, and your father is very pleased. If you continue down this reckless path, beware of losing your father's favor. Seeing Shen Zhaozhao's complete inability to manage the household, Prince Yang grew increasingly frustrated. Heeding the empress's advice, he selected Liu Anan, the daughter of Marquis Jing'an, from among the noble ladies of the capital as his concubine and entrusted her with full authority over the household affairs of Prince Yang's residence. Liu Anan was greatly favored by the empress and rose increasingly in status, while Shen Zhaozhao spent her days lost in melancholy. By the time she came to her senses, Prince Yang's household had already come to regard Liu Anan, the secondary consort, as its mistress, and the day of my wedding to Song Lingfeng arrived. Since Song Lingfeng was an orphan, he had no objection to continuing to live in Prince Pingshi's residence after our marriage. My father and mother were utterly delighted with him and treated him more dearly than their own son. Before the wedding ceremony, I saw someone unexpected. Prince Yang had actually rushed here from the capital. When he saw me, I had just put on my wedding dress. His eyes reddened as he looked at me adorned in the phoenix crown and ceremonial robes. If I hadn't acted impulsively back then, you should have been wearing this phoenix crown and marrying me. We stood at a distance, with maids and guards nearby. I raised my eyes to meet his gaze. Prince Yang, meeting you like this goes against propriety. But as an old friend, I agreed to see you once. There's no need to say such things. If you've come sincerely to congratulate me, then go outside and toast with a cup of wedding wine. He took a step forward and whispered, after my marriage, I never saw Shen Zhaozhao again. I regret it, Shuyi. If I were willing to abandon her and make you my principal wife, would you be willing to return to the capital with me? Your engagement to the cavalry general, I can ask His Majesty to annul it by decree. I will compensate him, every day. I am filled with regret, Shuyi. Would you be willing to come back to me and give me another chance? I took a step back. Your Highness, please restrain yourself. I am not willing. I am the daughter of Prince Pingshi, and my every word and action represents the Prince Pingshi's residence. Moreover, Song Lingfeng and I share deep affection. And today I will become his wife. Your Highness, please leave. You think I rely on my family background to pressure others, so you married Shen Zhaozhao, yet after marrying her, you found her petty and unable to bring you honor, so you took a concubine. Your Highness, you don't truly wish to marry me, you're simply discontent because you couldn't have me. Your fickleness and indecisiveness make you far from a suitable match, and hardly likable. Today is my joyous wedding day. I've said all I need to say, Your Highness, please leave. After speaking, I turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist fiercely. You went to the capital just to marry me. Now that I've come personally, you're putting on such airs. Do you think your father being the Prince of Pingshi can protect you forever? If one day I ascend the throne, who could stop me from having you? These words were nothing short of a threat. I turned to face him. Then your Highness shall see whether my father and husband can protect me for life. The Prince of Yang left, his gaze dark and inscrutable as he departed, leaving an unsettling feeling in people's hearts. After the wedding, I relayed the Prince of Yang's words to my father and my husband. My father pondered for a moment before looking at Song Lingfeng and asking, "What do you think?" Song Lingfeng gave a cold laugh and said, "If such a man were to become emperor, it would surely bring calamity. Since that's the case, we must ensure he never ascends to that position." My father laughed heartily and said, "Good, good, I haven't misjudged you. Who else would be more suitable than him?" I spoke up, "Father, why not consider Prince Qing?" "Prince Qing," I smiled. "Prince Qing is the legitimate son of the late empress and the emperor, bearing the title of legitimate heir. Moreover, he is the eldest son, holding the status of firstborn, being both legitimate and eldest. Wouldn't his ascension to the throne be perfectly justified? Prince Yang merely holds the title of being the empress's legitimate son, but now he lacks support among the court officials. In contrast, Prince Qing is widely regarded as virtuous. Even during my time in the capital, I heard of his reputation. Many ministers speak highly of him." Father nodded and said, "During my last conversation with Prince Qing, he discussed military forces and deployments in the northwest. He is a man of intelligence. Though currently out of favor, he carries himself with dignity and composure, neither servile nor overbearing. He is someone capable of achieving great things. I don't know how Father managed it, but he quickly reached an agreement with Prince Qing, with Father's backing in court. Prince Qing soon rose to prominence. Seeing the shift in momentum, some ministers began changing their stance to support Prince Qing. Prince Yang was furious. Cursing loudly in the Empress's palace, the Queen looked at him with disappointment. "Fool, back then, your mother had everything planned for you, but you shattered it all yourself, placing personal affections above your future prospects. Marrying the daughter of a minister of rights has not only failed to aid your career but has instead brought turmoil to your household, dragging you down. If you dislike that Shen Jiaojiao, why not send her to Hugua Temple to practice Buddhist devotions? Let her copy scriptures to calm her mind for your royal grandmother and hand over the management of the princely residence to your concubine. Now, it's time for you to take another concubine to assist you." Within less than 3 months of Liu Anan entering the Yang prince's residence, she became pregnant. Shen Jiaojiao was green with envy but could do nothing, as the Yang prince never entered her chambers, let alone allowed her to conceive, before she could fully recover from her sorrow. She discovered that the Prince of Yang was about to take a second concubine. She felt as if the sky had fallen. 2 concubines, one the legitimate daughter of a marquis's household, the other the legitimate daughter of a general's family, both of higher status than her own. After the new concubine entered the residence, because Liu Anan was pregnant, the Prince of Yang spent 20 days out of each month with the new concubine, showering her with extreme favor. Within a month of the new concubine's arrival, she was diagnosed with pregnancy. The Empress was overjoyed and bestowed lavish gifts upon the residents, filling the courtyards of both concubines with nourishing delicacies. Only Shen Jiaojiao received nothing. The Empress Dowager even ordered someone to reprimand Shen Jiaojiao. Upon hearing that the Prince of Yang intended to send her to Hugua Temple to copy scriptures, her eyes reddened as she sobbed softly, "Your Highness, I won't argue with the concubine sisters anymore. Please don't send me to Hugua Temple." The Prince of Yang hardened his heart and said, "You should still go to Hugua Temple to calm yourself. Once Her Majesty softens her stance and the 2 concubines' pregnancies stabilize, you may return." Shen Jiaojiao was sent to Hugua Temple to worship Buddha. I had the people my father left in the capital casually mention during their incense offerings at Hugua Temple that the Empress intended to promote whichever concubine of the Yang prince's household gave birth to the first legitimate heir to the position of principal consort, and they were preparing to depose Shen Jiaojiao from her position as principal consort. Upon hearing the rumors, Shen Jiaojiao's maid was terrified and hurried to the meditation room to inform her. With tears streaming down her face, Shen Jiaojiao said, "I knew it wouldn't be this simple. Both concubines come from noble families. If either gives birth to a legitimate heir, I could be deposed as principal consort. I must never allow his legitimate heir to be born." The Prince of Yang happened to be dispatched by the Emperor to oversee disaster relief efforts in Jiangnan, leaving only 2 concubines in the Prince of Yang's residence. Shen Jiaojiao returned to the Prince of Yang's residence from the Guardian Temple. Unlike her usual domineering self, She presented the peace talismans obtained from the temple to the two concubines. It has always been my fault in the past. Recently, while worshipping Buddha and copying scriptures at the Guardian Temple, I finally realized your children are also my children, and they will call me mother. Why should I make things difficult for you, when your children are born? I will immediately ask Her Majesty the Empress Dowager to decide. Whoever bears the legitimate heir shall be elevated to principal consort. Even commoners recognize the concept of co-wives, let alone the imperial family. The two concubines were overjoyed. The position of principal consort was an immense temptation. Who didn't know that the Prince of Yang was the most likely candidate for the crown prince? Becoming his principal consort would mean securing the future position of crown princess. And beyond that, they dared not even imagine. Shen Zhaozhao watched as the two concubines left the room, a faint smile curling at her lips. Principal consort, the rightful position of the Yang prince's residence will always be mine alone. There can never be a second. Within half a month, the Empress received devastating news in the palace. Both concubines of the Yang prince's residence had suffered miscarriages, with such a grave incident occurring in the residence of her eldest son. The Empress personally visited the Yang prince's residence. The two concubines were confronting each other with their attendants present. Liuanan clutched a sachet in her hand, weeping as she accused, "The child in your womb was 2 or 3 months older than mine. Fearing I would bear the heir first, you sewed musk into the sachet you gave me. How could you betray me like a sister?" General Wu's daughter, Wu Ying, refused to back down. "Do you really think you're any better? You mixed herbs that cause miscarriage into my tea." "My miscarriage happened because I drank the soup you sent," Liuanan screamed. "That was the blessed water the princess brought back from the Guardian Temple. I drank it too. Why would I harm you?" The Empress finally grasped the key point. "You all drank the blessed water the princess brought back from the Guardian Temple." Soon after, the imperial physician detected something from the remnants in the bowl and knelt on the ground. Kowtowing, "Your Majesty the Empress, this is indeed charm water, but it has been mixed with safflower. Drinking half a bowl can cause a pregnant woman to miscarry, let alone the two concubines who drank an entire bowl each." Liuanan and Wu Ying stared at the physician in disbelief. "How is this possible?" The princess consort said this was charm water given by the abbot of Hugua Temple, and drinking it would ensure the birth of a son. The Empress slammed the table. "Bring the princess consort here." When Shen Zhaozhao was brought in, she appeared completely composed. "Yes, the safflower inside was added by me. I cannot bear children, so you think you can. That will never happen, since His Highness refuses to touch me. I cannot bear his child, then no one in Yangwang Manor shall have that privilege either. I've already arranged for all the concubines to drink the safflower soup. In this Yang prince's residence, no one but me can bear children anymore." "Ha ha ha!" Liuanan fainted on the spot, while Wu Ying, being fire-tempered and the daughter of a military family, directly grabbed the sword from the table and lunged at Shen Zhaozhao. Thanks to the maids intervening, she only managed to slash Shen Zhaozhao's face, leaving a bloody gash that bled profusely. The Empress issued an order. "Shen Zhaozhao has harmed the Yang prince's descendants. Lock her up in the imperial prison and await the Yang prince's return for judgment." While Prince Yang claimed to be aiding disaster relief in Jiangnan, he had long forgotten his official duties. From the day he arrived, corrupt officials embezzling relief funds had been pampering him with beautiful women and fine delicacies. The melodies of Jiangnan's silk and bamboo instruments filled his ears, and the enchanting beauties of the region captivated his heart, leaving him utterly indulged and unable to extricate himself. Upon completing his mission and returning to the capital to report to the emperor, Prince Yang praised the officials in Jiangnan for their diligence and efficiency in resettling the disaster victims. He even suggested that they be rewarded once the crisis had passed. The emperor, however, reviewed the memorial submitted by Prince Qing, which meticulously documented the number of disaster victims, the amount of grain distributed, the count of those who had starved to death, and the exact sum embezzled by corrupt officials. More importantly, the final page revealed that Jiangnan officials had gifted Prince Yang a staggering 50,000 taels of silver, along with Jiangnan's courtesans and Yang Zhou's famed slender horses, all of whom Prince Yang had brought back with him. At the end of the memorial were the bloody fingerprints pressed by the disaster-stricken people of Jiangnan. The emperor, looking at the censers and Prince Qing kneeling on the ground, was overcome with fury. He threw the memorial at Prince Yang's head. As a prince, you turned a blind eye to the suffering of the people, indulging only in pleasure. If the empire were entrusted to you, the people would have no hope of survival from this day forward. All this evidence was gathered with the help of my father-in-law, who sent people to assist Prince Qing, while my husband also dispatched men to help Prince Qing record the grievances of each disaster victim and collect their fingerprints. With such overwhelming evidence laid before him, even if the emperor doted on this son, he could no longer turn a blind eye to his misconduct. Prince Yang was demoted to a commandery prince and confined to his residence, forbidden to leave without imperial decree. Upon returning to his residence, he discovered it had long been unrecognizable. His 2 unborn children were lost, and Shen Jiaojiao had been imprisoned. He went to see Shen Jiaojiao once, only to accuse her. "You venomous woman, you killed my children, I will divorce you." When she saw Prince Yang, she neither pleaded innocence nor cried out, but simply stared coldly at him. "I once thought marrying you meant marrying a good man, but little did I know it was the beginning of all my suffering. But I'm not afraid now. Your concubine can no longer bear children. I killed them with my own hands. My lord, what I cannot have, no one else shall have either." With that, she burst into laughter, black blood trickling from the corners of her mouth. "I knew you would divorce me, but alas, I'm about to die. You're too late. Until death, I remain your principal wife. If you remarry, she'll only be your second wife. Haha, I am the true princess of Yang." Shen Jiaojiao died. The Prince of Yang was confined to his residence, seemingly deeply traumatized. He never recovered and never appeared in court again. In the spring of the following year, Prince Qing was established as the crown prince. By the end of that same year, the emperor abdicated, and Prince Qing ascended the throne. He had always been considerate of the people's hardships and was a wise ruler. As for me, I no longer paid attention to news from the capital. I was pregnant and focused solely on being a mother. On the day of childbirth, Song Lingfeng was crafting a wooden horse in the courtyard when I softly called to him, "Husband, our child can't wait to meet us." I ached all night long, and at dawn, a cry shattered the darkness. Song Lingfeng held me tightly. "Shuyi, you've given me a pair of auspicious twins, a boy and a girl. Thank you." Gazing at my husband beside me and the peacefully sleeping twins, I felt my life was complete.